You're listening to Inside iOS Dev, show about real-world iOS development. Today with you, your hosts Alex Bush
and Andrew Rohn.
And today we're talking about iPhone 10.
X.
10. I want to call it X.
I've been noticing some people call it somewhat insultingly or grudgingly iPhone X intentionally as a way. I think it's like a way of them taking out their frustration with it. People at work have been doing that.
That's me. Right here. Right here.
So, guys, this is the iPhone 10 episode. And this is Inside iOS Dev. So on this, we're going to kind of more talk about how this will affect you as a programmer, what this new iPhone 10, how it will affect your development.
Yeah, and the things you need to worry about now, even more things.
So I think the main thing here is, what's most obvious is the layout, your UI. There is the notch, or the ears, as some people call it. And then there's no home button, right? There's just that bottom area at the bottom where you can swipe up to go home. So yeah, the phone is going to be, I think, about 20% taller, they said.
About that, yep.
Same width. So the aspect ratio is also different.
Yeah, now it's going to be more difficult to kind of place the images right, if you have something in the background, for example.
Yeah, if you have a image and it's placed in the background just so perfectly, it's going to be a little off now because the aspect ratio changed. But It's just another factor. It's a different aspect ratio.
Right. Yeah, and it's I guess it's kind of now it's a third thing to think about, third screen size.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I feel like the TLDR actually of this episode is Safe Area Layout Guide.
Yeah, use it.
Google it. That's the end of the episode, guys. Bye. No, that's actually kind of...
Sort of.
Yeah. Sort of, yeah.
Essentially, first of all, you should be using auto layout by now. Use it, all right? If you don't, and that will give you all the benefits of the, automatic resizing and all of those goodies.
So yeah, if you're already using all the stock iOS stuff that they give you, like stock navigation bar, stock tab bar, auto layout, doing everything all the Apple way as all Tim Cook approved, you should be good. Pretty much, it seemed like you don't need to update much.
Right. The only difference though now you kind of what you're hooking everything to on the sides is safe layout guide, right? Rather than, what was it before? The top margin something?
Yeah, there was a top and bottom layout guide before. And before the top layout guide would be the guide kind of for if there was the status bar, if there was a navigation bar, and then for the bottom, a tab bar or a toolbar. But now we have this safe area, and you have this safe area layout guide, and you will be using that, and your constraints will attach to that. And so if you look at the images, and I guess you can just kind of visualize it, kind of your design now is going to be not going to the very edge of the screen like it used to be. Like, for example, the navigation bar is not going to be at the very top, or the tab bar isn't going to be at the very bottom, touching the very bottom, because now you have these rounded corners, and you also have the notch on top, and then this home little bar thing at the bottom that the user needs to be able to touch to get out to leave your app. So now your UI is going to have to be inset a little bit from the top and bottom, and so to do that, you're going to use this safe area layout guide.
And if you don't use auto layout for whatever reason, there are going to be properties available to get that, frame CGRect.
Yeah, if you're
data.
doing manual frame layout, you can still use the top and bottom layout guide, and then you just use the dot length property. Those are going to actually still work. I think in iOS 11 you'll be fine, but it is considered, the top and bottom layout guides are considered deprecated.
Right.
But they're still usable, and they're there. And you can you can use those to get the dot length property for your manual frames.
Another TLDR / takeaway point for this episode is embrace the notch.
And just more generally embrace the new form factor of the rounded corners, the notch, and like basically they don't want you trying to hide the notch by like putting a little black. I don't know. Let's say you have like a little black background to try to hide the notch, or like at the bottom where that little home UI element is, trying to like hide it or anything. Like if your table view is gonna have to go full screen, and maybe you might not be used to it, seeing content like notched off, but it seems like Apple wants it that way. They want you to use the full screen.
And it sounded like, I guess we should check out all the new Apple submission guidelines, updates to that. But from the videos, it sounded like they're going to be pushing very hard on that and most likely reject apps that don't do that.
Yeah, they didn't explicitly state that they'd reject, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Yeah. Another thing is that the implication of that is that's going to be potential challenge for all the custom UI implementations and things such as React Native, for example. It's already tricky and challenging for them to kind of. They have this abstract thing that supports both Android and iOS with kind of the same code. They have to work around that already, and now even more issues with the new iPhone layout.
Yeah, I'm also curious, like things like async display kit are now called texture. There's other, like LinkedIn has layout kit. These other like layout.
They're heavily,
libraries.
they rely on frames, right? So there is no auto layout there for reasons of performance. Yeah, we'll see. They'll probably have a hard time at first.
Yeah.
And another big thing, implication of this new design is some of your design, it's case by case, but some of the designs of some of the apps would have to be fundamentally changed. Roughly speaking, like kind of one of the simplest examples would be, let's say you have some UI element or a button or something like that on the very edge of the screen, and it has like let's say rounded corners on only two sides of it, right? And the other two sides kind of touching the edge of the screen, and you don't see that. You simply don't draw the round corners there. Now, because of the safe area, you'll have to place them. You can't place them at the edge of the screen anymore, right? So now you have to kind of redesign it and maybe have the full round corners across the whole thing.
Yeah.
And again, depending on your case and your UI elements, it might be a big problem or not, but regardless, you have to change it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some challenges around this as people adjust. Personally, I think the notches, I think people are just not used to it, and it's going to take some getting used to. I think, and I hope, it'll fade into the background as you use the iPhone 10 more. I think that's what will happen. But I think as developers, it's going to be a pain in the ass because we're going to have to design around this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, it's kind of, I guess, just an observation that is one of those things that like Apple kept telling us over the years, guys, you got to do it, auto layout, like do the size classes and all of that stuff. And well, now yet again, right now we have all the multitasking and things where your app can be launched full screen on iPad, or like only half a screen, 1/3 of the screen, or whatever, right? Various sizes, so you have to adjust to that. And you have a bunch of iPhone sizes, right? I don't know if 4 is not supported anymore, but 5 is, right? Or 5S or something. So like this, you have the very small one, then 6 size, and X now, or 10. So lots of UI work, even more than before.
Don't send us to that Android world. I like.
Yeah, sorry guys, we're kind of there.
Fragmented. Turn us into this.
We're
I don't want to
there.
deal with that. Are you getting an iPhone 10?
Nope. I don't. No, I don't buy that Tim Cook's face thing. I'm sorry.
Face thing?
Yeah, the Face ID, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you meant it's like literal face. Okay.
No,
Oh, okay,
I'm
the
old
Face
school.
ID. We'll see.
I need my buttons.
Right.
Muscle memory. Sorry.
Courage, man. That's what you need. Hashtag courage. You gotta embrace the notch, embrace the...
I'll retweet that.
All right. We wrapping up here?
Yeah, that's really for the most part it, right? Just UI changes, and now we have to kind of accommodate that too.
Cool. All right, guys. That's everything for today. Contact us at hello@insideiosdev.com or on Twitter at @insideiosdev. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.